slides, but I have this stuff, so it's gonna be fun. And firstly, I would like to mention that space for discussion will be after my talk, so you will have an idea why. And let me briefly introduce myself. So, as you know, here my name is Hanneberg and I'm a UX designer. I worked for Kiwi about 4 years, and I was basically the first designer who joined the company. And currently our team is scaled to about 25 people, including designers, researchers, UX writers, and guys for each supporting the organization. And my responsibility is the booking page. So if you guys ever struggle with the booking process, let me know after the talk. I'm always looking for any feedback. And so that's all of me. And yeah, maybe I would like to ask you here who's outside of the company of the kiwi.com. Don't. Okay, cool. And so the topic. I decided to talk about the cooperation between designers and developers because I think that's a very important part of each project, because if this communication fails, usually also the projects fail. So that's quite important, I think. And anyway, let me start with the UX part, because I still hear a lot of misunderstanding and nonsense biases what is UX. Because UX is not just about making beautiful buttons and colors, and it's even not just about making the user-friendly interface. It's broader thing, and I was looking for some definition, but I was scared because it's hard to find something on the internet. Something was easy to say. So I have decided that the best way how to explain you what is UX is to tell you something about the basic UX process. And this basic UX process is based from 5 core steps. So so the first part or first step is emphasize. How will that be here?
Using the wrong hand.
Oh, sorry. The second step is define. The next is ideation. Then prototype. And the last part is validate. Okay, sorry, as you can see, I'm not the best writer, but maybe I would ask if someone heard something about this. Can you raise your hand? Okay. I hope you will learn something here. Okay, so I will go now every step and try to tell you more. So to emphasize, this first step is basically about the understanding of the users. It's about the understanding of their needs, their problems, and it's very often underestimated because sometimes designers are forced to start doing the visual thing. Anyway, if you skip this phase, it's very often leads to fail, because if you don't understand to the users, it's very hard to bring any solution. And in the practice, in this phase, is based from the research. Usually, you can make some interviews with the users, you can send some surveys and other researching methods. then the define phase. So after the first step, when you know something about the users, it's important to define the challenge which you are trying to solve or work on. This phase is basically including a description of the what's the problem and why are you trying to solve him. It includes the user stories which help you to understand of the context of the users. How will we measure the success and the scope? It's very important to do not mention any potential solution in this step, because if you do it, it limits your thinking in the future. And without defining these things, again, projects usually fail, or you will be lost because you will don't have the scope and you will start doing something else and so on. So it's really important. Okay, so after these first two steps, you are here, the ideation, and this step is about generating as much or as many possible ideas as you can for the solution of the problem. It's quite important, or it's always better to do it in a team of more people. You can include also developers or product managers or even customers, for example. It's better to have this broader scope of the people, because it helps you to generate more varied ideas. And yeah. Sorry, now I'm a bit lost. Anyway, that's all about this phase. Prototype. So if you have a couple of ideas, you basically select the best ones and try to prototype them. It's important to choose the most effective or the most fastest way how to make a prototype. You have to capture there the main key or key values of the solution. And in some projects it could be just basic wireframes, or in some cases it could be high fidelity prototype. It really depends on the project, on the purpose of the project. So it's hard to say before what should be the prototype. However, it should be some effective way. It not make sense to make prototype like developing something complex and so on. Okay, so if you have some prototype or more prototypes, you are go with it to the users in this phase. So you basically let the users use the prototype. You observe their behavior. You ask them questions and collecting feedback. And if the prototype doesn't work, you go again back in space and do it again till you have a solution which works. And what's good is that if you do this process, you usually avoid to developing the ideas which are not validated. So you guys don't have to spend time with developing the features which no one will use in there. And this process is usually much faster than develop something, release it, and then getting feedback on the production, for example. So that's basically the biggest value of or one of the biggest value of the UX approach. Okay. So I hope it's a little bit clearer what is UX, and or I believe. And now let me tell you something about the real project which we currently working on. It's about the baggage. As you probably know, the core business of the kiwi.com is connecting non-cooperating airlines. And in this case, a lot of airlines have different baggage options, and we have to work with it because we have to offer to our customers just baggage which are able to take to all the flights, all the connected flights. So customers will be not will travel without any obstacles. So that's the problem, and it's a quite complex thing because we have really a lot of airlines, and airlines have completely different systems how they sell their baggage. For example, in Asia they have systems based on the weight, or in the Europe you basically can buy pieces. So we have to somehow connect it together. And currently we are working with quite limited data. It means that on our website you can basically just click on add or remove package, because the data are still not so complex, so it could be very easy in the design. However, our awesome developers are working on extending this data, and yeah, that means that we will be able to have a bigger offer to our customers, but also that higher complexity of offer, making the vaulting much more complex. And because we didn't communicate with developers on the start about it, I think very properly, our front-end developers started to working on some crazy algorithm how to convert this complex data into the simple design component. And because we didn't communicate a lot about it, and they didn't take into account the user point of view, they spend a lot of time on something what doesn't make sense, because there is no real value for the customers, because if they will finish it, it will mean that technically it will be possible to add this package, but in the real world, for the real users, for the real people, they will be lost, because they will not understand, they maybe even not see that we offering these specs. So that's very bad. But yeah, luckily in our case we lost just a few man days, let's say, and we have started to cooperate more closely. We have started to collaborate and communication very openly, and we have started to work on the solution together. So we basically designed together the component, which is currently very easy to develop, which is or which will cover all the possible cases which could happen. Should be also, I hope, flexible for the future of the needs of the company, and currently it's also validated by our customers. So the reason why I'm talking about it is because if we not work together so closely as we did, we will never be able to achieve these results. So that's the reason why I'm talking that the designers and also developers should really closely work together on the design. And okay, so that's my main point. And from my career, I worked with quite a lot of developers, and after a couple of years, I have identified that developers doing very often the same mistakes or do some stuff which making the communication harder. So I decided to share here some tips or some my opinions, or we can discuss about it later. What I think that can improve the communication, and not just about the designers, but also with other people in the company. So the first thing is, if you are a developer, try to it's not just for developers, basically for all the people. Try to avoid using the technical terms or technical language, and do not use acronyms if it doesn't make sense, because it's really making the communication much harder. And yeah, we sometimes just forget that not everyone is expert on the technologies, and then the communication would be very bad. So keep it in mind that using the simple language is very important. Next thing is share with us, and I mean with designers, that if we provide any solution, any design solution, give us feedback if it's able to develop it easily. Because our role as UX designers is not just making the user-friendly interface, it's also about making the solutions which are able to develop easily. So that's our job. So, but we don't have so deep skills to be always understand what is easy and what not. So if you see that something is complicated, tell it to us openly, and we will try to improve it. Next thing is share with us if you have any ideas for improvements. Because UX designers are not owners of all the ideas. We are basically just facilitators. We are basically just collecting the ideas, and we are trying to make the best solutions on the best ideas which we have. And developers are usually very smart. Developers are usually very creative, and so it completely makes sense. So if you have, as a developer, any idea how to improve the user experience, share it with us, because sometimes some improvement could be hidden in some technical stuff which we do not understand. So if you see any potential how to improve user experience, as from technical point of view, let us know. Next thing is ask as much as possible. From my experience, a lot of mistakes in the UX is caused because someone didn't ask on something what wasn't super clear for him, and just didn't ask because, I don't know, because was shy, or because was afraid to ask, I don't know. So if something is not super clear, ask, and it's better than don't ask and then make some mistake. And the last thing which I would like to mention is try to include UX as soon as possible. I know that a lot of projects start in the development phase, and it could make sense sometimes. But very often also the technical decisions in the early development can have effect on the users in the end. So if you identify some of these cases when you do or work on something and you see that okay, this decision could have impact on the users, let us know and ask for the support of the UX designers. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for attention. I have questions, because I'm quite interested in a few stuff. So maybe I will for first asking you, and then you can ask me. So the first question is, what's your experience in collaboration with UX designers? And the second is, do you also think about if you are a developer, do you also think about the impact on the user during the coding, or do you just thinking about solve the problem in the code, but don't think too much about the user impact? So I have these two questions. If someone wanted to say something. Okay, no. You can ask me.
Well, personally, I really don't care about the user when I'm programming.
Okay.
Because I'm more incorporated, let's say, in the business logic and the process of developing the actual stuff. And there is no place for the user. And there's maybe the reason that I'm a backend developer, that I don't really interact, like I don't create the APIs for frontend.
Yeah.
So
for you, the user is the user of the API.
Yeah, that's another programmer. So
he's a user.
So basically, I will just define him as schema, and good luck, here it is. Yeah.
But I work with, so that was you.
Or something like that. I don't mean like like
I work with quite a few, like, here's your schema, then I look at the schema, I said, like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, I try to make sense of it.
Well, it makes sense to you, it might not make sense to me.
Yeah, well, that's about the contract between services. Then you have to talk the developer to developer, or take it to a boxing ring, I don't know.
So you need to go to talk to them and to ask them. The schema makes sense.
So that's our opinion, more or less.
If you have any problem, just talk to me.
I would like to first I would like to thank you for the presentation. I think it was a very good experience for you to practice the public speaking and presentation skills.
Well, thank you.
One thing to note, you almost like punched this lady with the papers.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Kind of.
So,
It's
sorry.
kind of quite dangerous.
Good feedback.
One thing I would like to ask is that I don't really think this is like your idea, this kind of work. Do you have any
Yeah.
source?
No, that's not my idea, definitely.
What sources do you use? Where does it come from?
Wikipedia.
I think
Okay.
I think that you can basically find on the internet. This is some kind of process which is very often can be different. So I just try to select some what makes sense for me and try to simplify it somehow. However, I think each of the step is something like very common for the designers. So I don't know who is the inventor of this. Or it's basically something like design thinking or something like that. Or maybe I'm not sure. What did you ask?
Well, for example, like.
Where did I? What's the source?
Oh,
of
well,
this?
one thing that I would like to say, like, how would this compare to something like A/B testing? Is this related?
Okay, I think that
to
yeah.
or-
I think it's this is a very general process. I think the A/B testing is included in this part, in the validation.
But one thing you said that one of the big things of this sort of process is that you don't have to implement it.
You're
Actually, to run A/B testing, you basically need to do
Yeah, you can.
implementation.
It's really, as I said, it's a really general process, and in some cases, it's the best validation approach. As what you can do is do the A/B test. So in this case, you have to put it into production, but it could be, for example, for something what is easy to develop. But if you are doing, for example, something completely new, something huge, it's usually not very effective to develop something huge and then run the A/B test. So in the case that you are just comparing some two stuff, it's okay to have in the validation phase A/B test. But in a case that you are developing, I don't know, completely new project, it's always better to validate some prototype, some wireframe or something like that, because it's much faster and much cheaper.
How would you validate the wireframe?
You can make some kind of usability. You can show it to the customers. You can ask them smart questions, and you
Would
will,
this
you
be
will,
like?
you will get some.
Would this give you information on how would it will be used in your production? Is there correlation between this?
Well, yeah. It's not always so accurate as in a real world if you have it in the production. Anyway, that's the reason why we have researchers. That's the people who are psychologists and they are thinking how to ask on the things to get the most accurate answers. So okay, it's always not so perfect like have it on the production, for example, and validate from the production. But it's usually more expensive, because if you make just some quick prototype and have some smart questions, it's much faster, much cheaper, and the biggest problem you are usually able to identify before by this process.
You should probably define it in the second phase, like how you're gonna validate the idea.
In the second phase.
Yeah.
No, because I think it's really hard to discuss about it in general, because every real process in every real project is different, and sometimes because you don't have time, you have to skip some parts, for example. But in a defined phase, you should always always describe how will you measure the success, because if you didn't do it, you basically do not know what's the goal.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, but
Are you then measuring the success in the validation phase?
should be connected because in the description of how will you measure the success, it usually based on that you will decide also how to validate the prototype. So it's connected.
There was a question
Yeah.
there.
How do you incorporate business needs into the UX design?
Okay.
Because I guess those two things
Mhm.
might go
Yeah,
for each
yeah,
other.
Of course. It's very important. It's always the part of the UX work, and it's also.
Can you specify what kind of businesses are we talking about? It's like really generic.
Make more money versus be user friendly.
That's what I think.
I think it's we as a UX designers we usually have to find out a way how to connect these stuff, and it's usually connected because if you are making something what's user friendly or what cover user needs, you usually can make a business on that because you are solving their problems. So or user problems. And on your question, how do you include? You usually have to think about it here because or also here because if you are making some broader research, like for example in our case in a Kiwi we can asking and making some general research and trying to what we by the way still don't have, but if you really know your customers and you're asking them, you sometimes identify that they have some issues, they have some problems, and that's a great opportunity for the business because you can solve it and you can solve it, and that's the way how you can include the business goals. And for example, in the baggage project, it's the business goals are quite clear because if we will offer more options, we expect that people will buy more bags or. Did I answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a question before.
This one might be a bit broader,
Mhm.
but you mentioned tips for developers.
Mhm, okay.
And this might not be just a question for you, but for everyone. Like any tips for designers?
If I have some tips for designers,
Yeah.
I have.
I would say it's exactly the same, just
Yeah, just
Yeah,
that's the
and
opposite.
I see it very often. I basically, when I started to do something on the internet, I always had somebody, some developer, and we always do some projects. So for me, it's very natural to work with the developers. But I see very often that designers sometimes are in their bubble and developers are in another bubble, and the communication is sometimes just through the Slack or through the Zeppelin or these tools, and okay, here is the design, you do the stuff, as a developer it's wrong, and then designers complaining bad still. But sometimes it's just about the communication, it's just about be friends together. And if you just talk like a human, it usually solves the most of the problems. So just don't be close in the bubble of developers or designers, but work together like a team. That's what I can recommend to everyone.
But to just add like note on this, like I assume you are using some kind of agile methodology, and from my understanding, one of the big things in agile is like cross-functional teams. So having silos of designers and silos of developers like doesn't really jive with it. Like I would assume that in this kind of scenario, you would have a team that has both developers and designers that work on single feature.
Did it happen to you, maybe in the baggage project, when you have to get back onto maybe emphasize, where you figure out in validation that there was a significant flaw of the design, where you have to redraw something?
You know, if you are in the work and you are limited some time and all the things, you have to adjust the process to this because you have to make some compromises, and you just cannot say, okay, that doesn't work and I have to change everything. So you just have to find the right balance how to avoid the biggest mistakes, but how to also deliver the result fast.
So you had to do compromises.
Yeah, of course, always. I think every designer, even in Apple, has to do compromises.
Basically, never happened to you that you have to scratch everything in the validation process and make it right.
Usually in the circle in these 3 steps, because if you know the users, you know the problems and define the challenge, this is usually stays same. But you can prepare here some solutions, it doesn't work, so in this case you have to go back, and that's happens very often. And the validation could be also just feedback of few people, and you will see very quickly that it doesn't work. So it could be also very fast. Also that just when I, for example, drawing something in the UI and I see that doesn't work because you can imagine it and you can think, okay, it could maybe work, but you see that doesn't work. So this is also kind of validation. So you are basically as a designer, you are always in this cycle. So
I have one thing. I would assume that in many cases, like there would be lots of ideas, and I would assume that lots of times that validation will find out that the idea is not good. Can you tell us like one case where you had like really great idea, but and you like went through it, like you made a prototype, you validated it, and found out that this doesn't work. Do you have any kind of experience?
yeah, it happens always.
One specific, like can you?
For example, we have tried to solve the problem of our customers that because we are connecting the non-commercial airlines, our customers have to transfer between the flights, and it caused a lot of issues because, for example, I have to collect and check the bags, and I have prepared a lot of solutions how to communicate it and how to explain it clearly so our customers will finally understand it. And I made like 5 prototypes and still I don't know how to solve it. But
all of these prototypes failed because somehow we defined
yeah,
validation.
because we made some
validated.
usability test or we asked our customers and we realized that it doesn't work because they didn't get the point what they have to do or what their responsibility. So we are still in this cycle of ideation, prototype, and validate.
Thanks. I'm in a situation where I'm the only UX designer on our team, and we basically don't have a product owner yet. We're looking for one. So we have a democracy when it comes to approving UX designs. And I usually make a design, then we discuss it in team, and then
Sorry, didn't hear you. Yeah.
that I make a design, then we discuss it in a team of developers, testers, and then our analyst takes the result of the discussion and goes to a stakeholder, and he has or she has the last word. So I know that the ideal situation is that you have a product owner, but if you don't, and you're in the situation where I am, what should we do? How should we handle this situation?
One thing to know that I think the stakeholder is product owner right now. It's really, I wouldn't say you don't have, because if there is one person who makes the decision, that's the product owner. It's not like, it's not because someone is called product owner, it's because what they do.
All right, but in this situation, they are sort of scattered throughout the company, and nobody sees deeply into our product. So that's my problem here.
That there's someone who doesn't see deeply into the product, who makes decisions on the design of the product.
Not really. Like it's all scattered. Nobody has deep expertise.
So your problem is that someone make a final word
Yeah.
without taking account all the details. Or,
Yes, communicate
Yeah,
directly with
directly.
stakeholders?
Yeah.
Well, kind of, but I mean, they are very busy